just need a little extra guidance. Thank you. As Pastor Gene has taught me to do, our gospel today comes from Matthew 11, verses 16, backwards 9 to 16, and 25 to 30. To what can I compare this generation? They are like children sitting in the marketplaces and calling out to others. We played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We sang a dirge, and you did not mourn. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking. They say, here is a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is proved right by her actions. I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned, and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father, for this was your pleasure. All things have been committed to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble. In my heart you will find the rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. You know, the gospel today, gospel. Now we're on. The gospel today is very confusing. And I don't know how many of you have noticed it, but pastors have a tendency to read the gospel to you and expect that you know what they're talking about. Well, if you don't have the introit and the entrance into a lot of the gospel, they pick out a little piece in the middle of it. And this little piece is what you're supposed to know. Well, who knows that? In this particular gospel, Jesus has met with John the Baptist. John the Baptist was in prison, and he talked to him, and they were talking back and forth to each other. And then Jesus went out and spoke to the people. So what I just read to you was what Jesus was telling the people. You criticize John the Baptist because he didn't eat and drink, and you say that he has a demon in him. And then I came, and I ate with you, I went into your homes, I met with you, we had wine together, and I was a glutton and a drunk. How do you balance that? Well, let me tell you, I was at my computer and I'm researching a lot of things, different things. And I'm all set to what I might impress you with. Gosh, I might be able to really tell you something and tell you all the knowledge that I've learned. You know, I've been in classes. Since I left here, I've attended so many classes. And each class has a minimum 10 hours of class time, plus all your preparation time. So you do learn a little. I mean, I learned it's not bringing the sheep. It's called to worship. And I know it's not leading the ladies. You're the choir director. Oh, okay. But yet, they still call us lay leaders. Now that seems strange to me. We're lay leaders. But we learn a lot of things like false truths. Do you know how many false truths there are about Jesus? That God and the things he says? He said, God never gives you more than you can handle. God didn't give you the problem in the first place. Life gave you the problem. But he's right there to help you. He's right there to help you find a way to get out of it. So that's not quite true. And then they say, something good always comes out of a bad situation. No. Maybe once in a while, coincidence leads you out of a problem and it leads you into a good situation. I don't think it's always that way. God helps those who help themselves. Well, that's partially true. If you don't put some effort out and try to get out of a problem and correct the problem, you can't expect God to step in and do it for you. It's not going to happen. But if you do step out and you start trying to do things, God's there to give you a boost. So he does help sometimes. But there are many little things that people say about God that just don't make sense. They make somebody feel better. You give somebody a little more comfort. You lose a baby, a child, and God wanted another little angel. That doesn't make sense. Why would God do that? It just doesn't, he doesn't get blamed for all that stuff. But make somebody feel good. Maybe you didn't know what to say to people. I mean, that's a terrible time. Unless you've gone through it, and I have, it's a terrible time. My son's firstborn was stillborn. It takes your heart away. It hurts. But along with all the classes and the things that I've learned, last week I came to hear Jeannie preach because I wanted to refresh my memory on how your service goes, because every church is a little bit different. Everybody has their own little things that they do. I learned more last week than I've learned in all the classes that I've been in. And it's coming home to this church. The people here show you what true friendship is. They help each other. They come to each other's aid. I mean, I see on Facebook and on the internet, I stay in touch with this church all the time because I see different things and I hear what's going on. And I love this church. I really do. And darn, I'm excited to be home. I'm excited to be back. You know, God loves us no matter where we're at. And our concerns and our prayers and things that you do in this church are so much stronger than in a lot of places that I've been. And we're talking about this church has so much going for it. You've got a good congregation, you've got a beautiful building, you have a fantastic pastor. Yes. I mean, there's no question about it. You've got one of the best pastors in the country here. Yes. And you know what? He doesn't know it. He doesn't. He's Gene. He loves it. And you know, we're so excited that he was reappointed for another year. And they tell him he can stay as long as you want. But I got to tell you, the book of discipline in our church says automatic retirement at 72. But because Gene is a part-time pastor, he gets around that. So it's good that we keep him as a part-time pastor. But with Jesus, remember, he traveled so much. He was always on vacation. Gene's on vacation. He's going to be coming home. How many of you have been on vacation, and when you finally get finished with the vacation and you walk into your house, and you're home. And you can take your shoes off, put your feet up, and oh my goodness, the feeling, you're home. It's so wonderful to come home. Jesus must have been really lonely out there. I mean, walking around with this little band, like a superstar, you know. They're out on the road. Did Mary and Joseph have a little house where Jesus could come in and be with his brothers and his sisters, and rest and relax? No. He was always on stage. He was always on. And he had to be. He had 4 brothers and he had some sisters. I mean, when did he get to spend time with them? It was tough. But he was out there. And you could just imagine when he finally got called home, he had to have great relief. He had to feel, oh, all my faith in my Father was worth it. I'm home. 3 years. You know, if you think about it, he returned home. How many words do you know that start with the return, repent, rejoice? There's about 80 some words. Reimburse, retread. Jesus, retread, thank God. Thank you. Rejoice, return, relive, reward, rethink. There's that one that sticks there. Remember. Remember. And boy, do I remember this place. I loved it. Ellie made me move. I brought her flowers, but she still made me move. I'd be back here in a heartbeat. But, you know, vacations are good, but when they're over, how good is it to come back home? Now we take vacations from God. We take vacations from our church. We take vacations, and sometimes they're very long vacations. As we're growing up, maybe our family took us to church. Maybe not every week, but we'd go to church sometimes. So we really didn't have a real solid foundation of church life. And then when we had our family, we went to church until they were like 10 or 11, 12 years old, and then things got in the way. Oh gosh, there was a good football game on, there was golf, we had Little League, we had girls softball, we had this, we had that. There was always a reason not to go to church. So there's a big span in there where we didn't give our children a solid foundation of going to church every week. And then they get married and they have children, and their foundation gets a little worse. Their kids don't go to church. They don't follow God. Half of them don't even know about it. What is God? And our generations have been getting less and less and less interested in going to church. And it's happening to our church. The whole church. Not this church. All churches. But this church is still fighting the same problem. If you look at your age group, you look at the people you have in the church, we're all getting older. We're all getting older. And where are the young people coming from that we need? We need guys like Brady here and the 2 young men who came in to visit us from Houston. We need these young blood. We need these 40 and 50-year-old families to bring their kids and come to church. And we have to go out after them. We have to go out and bring them in. If we don't, we're all going to be hurting. Not only this church, but all the Methodist churches in the world. And every other church. It's not just us. But you know, when I come home, I call it home. I get in trouble all the time in Texas because they said, I'm going home, I'm going to work in my own church. They're going, what did you say? I teach 2 Sunday school classes in my church in Texas. And I also have a Wednesday night program that I put on every Wednesday night. We have a Wednesday night little homily, and we serve communion. every Wednesday night. A lot of people can't make it to church on Sunday, so Wednesdays we serve communion. But I still consider this coming home. And they said, well, when are you coming home? I said, I'm going home, but I'll be back in Texas in a couple of weeks. And that doesn't go over real big with some of our close friends. They're going, now wait a minute, you know, we're Texans and you're hurting us here. But let's say it's your birthday and your daughter says, well, what do you want for your birthday, Mom? Gee, I would love to have you and the kids join Dad and I at church for Sunday. That would mean a lot to me. Hey, now instead of just being Christers, which is Christmas and Easter, you have birthers, Christers, birthers. You can really add it on. Maybe you get two more Sundays a year in church. Wouldn't that be good? And then you say, listen, hon, it's your birthday. We'd love to have you out to lunch. Come to church with us and we'll take you and the kids to lunch. Oh, two more weeks. You're building a base. And when you get a base, then you never know what's going to fall off, what's going to catch on, what plant is going to start from nothing. But we've got to go after these people and bring them in because they need us and we need them. But when I came in, I knew you can always tell when you're in a Methodist church. Front row is always empty. Didn't notice that? They're always empty. Back row's full. No problem. Get closer to the food. How do we bring them in? We're Methodists. My gosh, we have secrets that nobody knows about. We have casseroles. We do. We have casseroles. We have bake sales, and things like coffee hour. A lot of churches don't have that. Boy, we Methodists, we do that. And if you come into a church and you see people sitting in the front row, they're not Methodists. Go up and say hello. Hi, it's so good to be here. I'm glad to have you with us. Feed them. Bring them food. Get them in the back. Don't ask for money. Don't ask for money. But welcome them. They're not Methodists. They're sitting in the front row. So, once you start coming to this church, it is hard to stay away. I mean, I'm speaking to the choir now. Come on. You guys are as steady as can be. This is the Rock of Gibraltar, this church. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. You have an absolutely great program going here just because of you. And it's not the building, and it's not this food bank, and it's you. You are this church. And one thing that nobody can take away from this church, a couple. Number one, you've got God and Jesus. You can't beat that combination. But then again, you've got Gene and Nancy, who really come close because they're just really super people. You've got a great message. And the one thing that this church has more than anywhere else, and you can feel it when you walk in the door, you have love. And God's basic message, Jesus' basic message, is to love one another. Love one another. If you have love, and you have love in your heart, and you have love for your friends, and you have love for your family, then you belong here. Because this church is just full of love. And every time I walk in that door, I get excited. I really do. I love coming home, and Jeanette stands up in the choir, and she yells, "I'm excited!" And it takes my breath away. And Gene says, "Come, I got a seat for you up front." I said, "No, I'm Methodist. I'm sitting in the back." But it's wonderful to be home. I congratulate you on having such a beautiful, wonderful family church that we can all come and enjoy. May God continue to bless you. May life go on here as it has many, many years. And we get to enjoy each other's company. Even though I'm not here all that often, but boy, I sure love it when I walk in that door. God bless you. Let us pray. Father, you bring us together. We try to honor you with our love, with our respect, with our words. We honor you with our presence, and we honor you with our families. We ask you to please, Father, watch over us, care for us, and accept us as we are one in you. Thank you for all that you do. Amen. Our hymn today is hymn number 370, Victory in Jesus.